Hello, my name is Cheryl Brunette, and thank you for stopping by my knitting channel, where you will find tips and techniques, full workshops, and answers to your most perplexing sweater questions. Today, I'm going to show you how to make this little braided ball. It is not my pattern, and I'm just going to demonstrate how to put it together, but that's the challenging part. To knit it is just a piece of cake. The complete written instructions are available for free on Ravelry, and I've put the link below so that you can go right to that. So let's get started. You will need 6 strips of stockinette. They can be all one color or all different colors. For today, I'm using 3 colors because I think that's the easiest way to learn how to assemble these little creatures. These particular strips are 20 stitches wide by 68 rows long. I ran them up on the machine and left live stitches at both ends because I like to graft them together like I showed you in episode 5. But you can make your strips with a regular cast on and bind off and still seam them together. The first step is to graft, or sew if you prefer, 2 of the strips into loops, which I've already done. These are strips 1 and 2, and this is by far the easiest part. But before we go on to the next step, you need to realize that you're actually not making a ball, but a cube, just like this die. It has 6 sides, and it's just the flexibility of the knitted fabric that lets you knead it until it takes the shape of the ball. I've tried to emphasize that cube shape in this little sample that we're going to be working from. See how it's more squared off? I'm going to follow this pattern as I'm doing it, and I'm going to do strip number 3 at the top. So it goes under, over, oops, stay up there, and under and over. So there we have it, and when you bring them together, you're going to pin them with a safety pin to hold them until you get these 2 strips together. Next, I'm going to take strip 4 and I'm going to go over, under, and pin those 2. What you're making are 2 faces of your ball here. Now let me check this. Here's the front face. Yes, they have been properly woven. And here's the back face. And now is when you can graft these together, which I am going to start doing right now. Notice I just, my personal preference was just to put a thread through these. Oops, wrong one. Here we go. Let's start here. I've already shown you grafting, so I'm going to turn the camera off now and come back when I'm almost finished. But this is where I start, in the center of that stitch. Oops, there we go. When strips 3 and 4 are finished, this is what you have. 2 complete faces. This one and the one that's right behind it. Okay, so now we're going to start weaving in strip number 5. I'm going to start right here. And because this is an over, I'm going to make this one, see the green goes over the yellow, then I'm going to make the orange go under the yellow because that's the very next place. And then over this yellow, under this green, over that green, under the yellow. Oops, don't pull too tightly sometimes, that can mess you up. Over the yellow, under the green. I think it's going to work. And over the green. Now let's see what we have here. Okay, first I'm going to pin this, and then before I ever even attempt to get number 6, I'm going to try to make this look like it should look again. Let me get that out of the way. Okay, so I orient toward the green. So the green's on the top. The green is down there. Here's a yellow and a yellow. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to look on the other side. Is it the same? Yes, that still looks good. All right, now let's see if my orange went over and under the way it should. And this is going to be the closest one. So it went over the yellow, under the yellow, over a green, under a green, over the yellow, under the yellow, over a green, under a green. I think this one is good. Okay, and I'm going to go back to my orientation, which is right here. I'm going to get my other orange one. All right, strip number 6. This is the big challenge. Let's see if we can get it the first time. Actually, once number 5 is in, for me, number 6 is almost easier because it orients me. Because this one was an under, I want this one to be an over. So it's just going to flop there. Here's an over. This should be an under. This is under. This is going to go over. Now, pulling this green one, notice that I had to recognize that I have 2 green ones on this side. And I had to fish for that. Okay, so that kind of looks like the right box. Uh-oh. What is this mess? Okay, well, this goes under a yellow and over a yellow. So I'm going to go over and under. Again, I have to fish on the inside for that. Okay, pull that. And at the end here, I have an over the green and an under the green. That's pretty tight. He didn't come through very well. So let's try that again. Over and under the green. Now I don't, oh, and that's the reason that is hanging out there is because this was supposed to go over that yellow, but it was just an end. Now I'm going to pin this one, and believe me, I am not going to sew a single thing until I can tell whether or not it's all back together. So, and I have to do some coaxing. Okay, so I can see here's a face, and can that be a face? I think it can. There's that face, and then there's this face, and that face. Yeah, this is going over, this is going over here. Let's look at it from the direction of the oranges, because that is on 4 sides. So here's one of the faces, here's another face, here's the third face. See how that's pinned together right there? And here's the 4th face. Now, I am going to graft these together and show you what it looks like when it's finished. I'm going to start, well, first I even have to find the yarn. I left long ends so that I could do this, but even finding those can be a little bit of a challenge. I'll loosen them. I'll find them. I'll be back soon, hopefully with a ball that looks like that. Okay, so here we are, hot off the needle, and you can see it's kind of a mess. Notice that I did not cut these off, work them in and cut them off yet, and that's because I want to make sure that I have this right before I do it. And now, in case I have to rip it out, now I'm going to start kneading it to get it into the form I want. Make sure, first of all, that I have my 4 faces. Let me tuck that in. Let's see, now that looks like a face there. Pull that. These were hard seams to sew, by the way, because it's so tight. But that's okay. If you don't do a great job, you can always tuck them to the inside of the ball. This will take a little bit of finessing on your part. Here, let's pull that one so it's a little bit even. I kind of like to work on faces if I can get each face even. There, this is kind of tight. Let's pull that. Straighten them out a little bit. Well, I still have some work to do on this, but you can see it's already starting to look like a ball, and it looks like I've done it right. So I'll be able to go back and work in those ends and cut them off. Yeah, it needs a little bit more finessing, a little bit. Get it a little bit nicer, but we're getting close. There we go. Putting the ball together is not that simple. Even Marlene Hartog, the Dutch woman who saw this and took the time to figure out how to do it and explain it to the rest of us, has something to say about that. And I quote her directly. The first time you did this, you will definitely have made a mistake somewhere, and usually in the last band. It will probably cross band 5 in one or more places. No worries. Just pull it out and try again. Once both bands 5 and 6 are definitely in the right location and not twisted, you can sew these ends together as well. Now, this is a woman after my own heart. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. It's just knitting after all. And if you don't like what you've made, you can always rip it out and redo it. And if you really don't like what you've made, you can rip it out and make something entirely different. So until I see you again, don't forget to subscribe if you like what you're seeing here, and be brave and enjoy your knitting. This one has never mind. So we are still working on only one mic. What the heck is going on with this? That is graceless to use that kind of language. I am going to cut that out, and you don't even know what I said, and I'm not going to tell you either. But it wasn't horrible. It wasn't horrible. It was just like Midwest.